welcome back to the channel. Happy New Year, everyone! Can you believe 2022 is here? It is so unbelievable to think about. 2021 really flew by, honestly, especially since I've been doing YouTube. It's helped it just go way beyond any other year, and it's just, wow, I don't know what else to say about it. It's crazy. But that's not why we're here. Today I'm doing my December wrap-up. So for the first time in several months, I actually completed all 4 books that were on my TBR. So yay! Finally. So if you saw my 2022 video, you will know that TBRs will be soon a thing of the past for me. Part of the reason is because, yes, I generally stick to the TBR, but I don't always get through all the books on it. So ultimately, a book or two ends up on 2 or sometimes 3 TBRs, and I talk about it way too much. So starting in February, there will be no more TBRs, but there will still be wrap-ups. So be sure to tune in to the wrap-ups to see what I've read, what I thought. Since I'm reading older books, I won't be doing like a ranking. I'll probably just do them, talk about them in the order that I read them in, give you my thoughts about them, and that'll be that. There will be one more TBR, that will be January's, since it will be the last of the 2020 book releases that I'll be reading. That's very exciting for me. I can't wait. So let's get into what I read and what I thought were the worst and the best. Let me just say, most of these selections were kind of meh, unfortunately. There was one really good one, but we'll get to that one last. So fortunately, my least favorite for December is going to be Elegy for the Undead by Matthew Veseley. So in this story, it's about a zombie virus. It's not a zombie pandemic. It's not worldwide. It's popped up in a couple of cities across the world. One was Philadelphia, where Jude and Lyle live. They are a gay married couple. And I thought it was going to be like a heartfelt, so depressing, I'm going to be boohooing by the end type of book. But unfortunately, I just did not connect to the characters all that much. I think a lot of it was the jumping back and forth between after Lyle was bitten and way before any of that happened. A lot of it was talking about the relationship, how they met, how they got together, what happened in the years leading up to the zombie virus outbreak. And another thing that really threw me off was each chapter is told either from Jude's point of view or Lyle's point of view, and they're both told in the first person present tense, so that was very distracting. Sometimes I would have to go back to the beginning of the chapter because it would tell you the name of who this chapter is going to follow, just so I could remember, is this Jude or is this Lyle? The book opens up with Jude and Lyle talking to a doctor. It's 1 month after the attack, and she is telling them that Lyle is infected, but since he received treatment fairly soon after his attack, he will still turn, but it's going to take longer than normal. So I can't remember exactly how long afterwards that things go down, but it's towards the end of the book where you find out how he was infected and the end results of everything. I really can't recommend this one. It was kind of boring, unfortunately. I really wanted to love it. Unfortunately, I just didn't. So, Elegy for the Undead. Taking the 3rd spot in this wrap-up is going to be Wonderland by Zoe Stage. I was really looking forward to diving into this one because it was described as The Shining written by Shirley Jackson. And what that entails is a very slow burn. It's about this family of 4 that moves from the cramped apartment of New York City to this farmhouse in upstate New York. There are no neighbors around, it's surrounded by woods, and they are going there because Orla, the wife, has been the breadwinner for the family for years as a ballet dancer She has recently retired from ballet, being a 40 plus woman. And so they were moving to the upstate New York countryside. So her husband, Shaw, who is a struggling artist, can hone his craft, so to speak. So it's his turn to chase his dreams. So as soon as they get there, strange weather events begin happening. There's like these flash whiteouts, and after some time passes, there's like the aurora borealis in the sky, which is way off from where it should be. So all these strange weather events are happening. There's this big giant pine tree, oak tree, some kind of huge ash tree in the backyard way in the distance, and we soon discover that it has something to do with what's going on. So the events that take place in this book are really good. It's just, it takes so long for things to wrap up. By the time I got to page 250, which is 100 pages away from the end, I was so ready for this story to end. But it just kept going.
And going.
And going some more. Oh my gosh, by the time I got to the last 30 pages, I was like, please, let this story be over. I'm done. But I did finish it. It did wrap up pretty nicely, I guess. I would kind of recommend it if you're a fan of isolation stories, ghost stories, books with not a lot of characters, because really the only characters in this story are the 4 family members, which are the husband and the wife, and like a 9-year-old girl, and maybe like a 3 or 4-year-old kid. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, then definitely check it out. Unfortunately, I don't think that's my kind of story, and yeah, it is what it is. Coming in at number 2 for me was also kind of a disappointment, and that's going to be Secret Santa by Andrew Shaffer. So this story takes place in the early to mid 1980s, and it's about this woman who goes to this publishing house looking for a job. It is the last place on her list. She really doesn't want to work there, but she really doesn't have a choice. So she goes for this interview, and the boss is a real dick, and he tells her up front he already knows who he's going to hire, and unfortunately he still has to go through with the interviews, and she doesn't think that's quite fair, so she has some words for him, and he ultimately has a heart attack and kills over. But not before she turns to leave and bumps into the bookcase and knocks this box off, which contains some kind of German doll, I believe. And it's something she recognizes from her past. So anyway, once the boss dies, he goes to the hospital. She follows and runs into the boss's son, who has inherited the company and all the financial stuff. So she convinces him that, dude was going to hire her, and so she's in. And so she is immediately the outcast of the company. I guess a lot of people kind of blamed her for the death. I don't really know. I don't really remember, but anyway. So she's there for a few weeks, and they have this Christmas party, and everybody's got a Secret Santa gift, and she wasn't expecting to get one, but somebody left her one, and it contains the doll that she found in the boss's office, and she thought that was kind of weird. So then strange things start happening to some of her co-workers. They are beginning to get injured, some die, and things are not looking very well. A lot of it's pointing to her as the culprit, and she's like, oh no, that is not my fault. That's really all I want to say about Secret Santa. I think it was worth the read. It just didn't live up to what I wanted it to be, I think. I really didn't like the ending at all. And endings can really bring down the whole story for me. So, unfortunately, Secret Santa, not very high, but still a good enough Christmas read, I guess. So my number one read for December by far is going to be Ring Shout by Djeli Clark. I don't know how you say that name, but yes, this was an awesome read. It is about these three African American women back in 1922 who are fighting Ku Kluxes. So we all know what the KKK is, the Ku Klux Klan. Well, in this story, which by the way, let me just go ahead and say up front that this is a fantasy horror story, which I have never read, I wasn't expecting, and I don't think that's a spoiler. Even if I had known about that up front, I still would have wanted to read it. So let me just tell you, it is definitely worth a read. It starts out strong, it goes on strong, it's a short read, but it ends very well too, and I was very pleased with this. It's about these three African American women in the 1920s who are kicking ass and taking names. You know, one's got a sword, who is in the fantasy trope, you know, the chosen one. And she has a couple of friends. One uses rifles and shotguns. And the other one uses homemade bombs, you know. So they go around killing Ku Kluxes, which are different than regular Klan members. The Klan are the humans. Ku Kluxes are not human. They are monsters in human form that only some people can see. So this is such a good story. I highly recommend this one to anyone. It deals with racism, obviously. It deals with friendship. It deals with authority figures. It just has a lot to say, and I was there for it. So I really don't want to say anything else about it. Just go out and read it. You will love it. I promise. Okay, well that's it. Those are the 4 books I read in December. I've only got 3 more 2020 books left to read. I can't believe it. So I'll be reading those in January. I will do a January TBR just to talk about those 3. And I will also be doing part 4 in the picking 2021 books to read, as well as telling you about recent releases of 2022 books. So make sure you check that out. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I really do appreciate you. I hope you all have a fantastic, happy new year, and let's get some reading done. Come back and see me next time, and until then, keep turning those pages. Bye.